Welcome to Make Things Happen with Diana Pagano. I came from struggle, living life on survival mode, and later found myself living in that same vicious cycle. Life is meant to be so much more than settling. My life changed when I learned the power of your mindset and how it applies to every part of your life. I'm a business leader, speaker, and author. I have made it my life's mission to share all the tools and techniques that changed my life because I know they will for you too. All your hopes and dreams really lie in the how. How are you making things happen? Are you ready to stop dreaming for what could be and turn those dreams into reality? I thought so. Well, get ready to live life on your terms. Hello, and welcome to part 2 with Marie Diamond, where we get into some really amazing things about creating the life of your dreams. I remember thinking that a vision board was just cutting out, magazine articles or pictures, and I thought, oh, this is cool. This is what I want to manifest. Nope, wrong. So much more to vision boards. So if you've ever done a vision board, you know what I'm talking about. You want to tune into this next episode. If you haven't done a vision board, it's still early enough in the year. It's March of 2025. It is never too late to create a vision board. So I encourage you to create one. And not just that, Marie Diamond talks about an app that she has, and it's absolutely amazing. I did it for myself. As you all know, and if you don't know, now you know, this is the year of the wooden snake. But if you are a snake or not in the Chinese zodiac, and if you believe in that, I do. I think there's a lot of truth to it. And even if you're not, in the app, it's so awesome. You get to put your birthday and all these things about maybe the time that you were born, and it tells you all this cool stuff. Whether you believe it or not, I choose to believe in a magical world of manifestation and that the stars are aligned and that are there to guide us. I know that you are currently right now in this moment being divinely guided. Whether you know it or not, you are. And when you open yourself up and you're receptive to receive all the good, all the wisdom, all the blessings that God, whoever your creator is, has to offer you, you create some magic. So I'm excited about this next episode. I'm so excited that you're here, and definitely tune into part 1 if you haven't had a chance to tune into part 1 and go make things happen. Enjoy. So Marie, really quickly, because I want to talk about this. This is ironic. Tell me, what happens on Chinese New Year with things not going so great sometimes? You mentioned a little bit off camera, because we definitely had some glitches, and I told my team we're making things happen. I am sweating. I have Rocky, my song, Eye of the Tiger by Rocky is what I put on before I speak, before I do something. It gets me pumped, gets my energy flowing. But yeah, so talk to me. I'm just curious, what happens during this time of year?
So you have to think about that every year is like a new flow of vibration that comes in, right? So that's why when it's like our birthday, we celebrate, yeah? Because there's like a new energy coming in astrologically, right? So in the Western world, we know that's based on your birthday. Now, also every year in the Chinese astrology, there's a new wind coming in. So the new wind this year is called the energy of the wooden snake. What does that mean? Is that the snake or the wood element has certain qualities to it, certain energy related with it, certain flow. And so the Chinese knew that when the wind comes in, we need to do certain things. For example, on the 29th of January, this year is the Chinese New Year, but some years it is the 5th of February, it depends, yes. Right? Not every other year, same date. Is that they cannot cut, they cannot sweep the floors. So there are certain things they are not allowed to do. But what they can do is to tap into that positive wind and celebrate. So you go out for, a beautiful dinner. You make sure you're celebrating, you're sending wonderful wishes to each other. One of the things is that they say, if this wind comes in, we want to really bring some fire to it, because if you have a wind and you add fire to it, it actually heats up the wind and it's more positive. So that's why they do firework, they do crackers, they burn a candle.
On the 29th?
It's this year, the 29th, right? So other years, it's another date, right? You need to research that. But it actually means that there's the qualities of the wooden snake that come in. So what are the qualities for the wooden snake? First of all, the snake is all about transformation. It always helps people to shed their skin, their old self. So what you're doing about, you're changing your channel, right?
Yes.
It's that energy is like, don't stay in your old self. Yeah, become a new self. That's actually what the snake always does, right?
Yes.
But snake is also very grounded. It's a grounding element. It's from all the zodiac signs, the most connected with the earth. So the snake will say, you have procrastinated enough, make things happen.
Make
Yeah,
things happen. Yes.
right. So the fact that you have chosen this as a tagline is really so typically snake, right? It's like the snake will say, oh, look, innovate yourself, do the research, change, take action, organize yourself, don't hold back. Yeah. So that is what the snake will say. Now, the wood element is also to do about growth. So the wooden snake is normally a year of prosperity, of growth, that always brings new energy in, right? So it's the year of, it's like bamboo, it's flowers. So bring in fresh flowers, bring in bamboo luck, just have some fresh plants and flowers around you the whole year, right? But not spiky plants, just things that are round, would be lovely. So don't bring the cacti into your
No
space. Leave them
cactus. No
outside.
Arizona cactus.
Yeah, no.
So I have my bamboo plant on the southeast corner of my office. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is very good. So there are two places where you can put a bamboo this year. So you can first of all put it in the east, yeah? Because when you put bamboo in the east this year, that means the east section of your house or the east area of your office or your living room or your family room. Like you take the compass, stand in the center and look where is the east. That will give you more recognition and more visibility, especially if you want to expand your vision, people seeing you, connecting with you, to have more fame, more visibility, activate that in the east. If you want to have more income, right, like new blossoming opportunities, then put an orchid or a bamboo in the southeast section, but add a bubbling fountain. Yeah, like a little indoor fountain, because we need to add a little bit of water to the southeast. So based on the energy and the location, there will be some things we want to expand. And so that is what we do for the wooden snake here.
So we can do one plant on one southeast and a different one on the east, or is that going too much? My mom loves plants, so she's got plants everywhere.
If you have a bigger plant, I would put it in the east and the smaller plant in the southeast.
In the southeast. That's amazing. So you mentioned clarity was the color aqua. But what would you say to someone that is starting something new? When you're starting a business, what color should someone maybe go out and redo their office, or maybe they have a brand new office? What would you say for them?
So I will come to the color, but I want to tell them something first to do.
Yes.
Is that one of the things I always suggest to people, if you start a business or even you're already in a career, make sure that you are sitting with your desk so you can see the door. Never sit with your back to the door, right? Why is that important? Because then you see new energy coming in. So you will have more clarity. We have done research, and so your brain waves will go into alpha brain waves. That means you will be more creative, more solution driven. You won't be so much into fear. If you're sitting with your back to the door, you're hitting a wall, like literally you're putting your desk against the wall, then you don't see the opportunities and the people coming into your space. Even if they never come physically in there, it's an energy thing. And if you're facing the wall, then literally you will not see the clients coming in because you're facing a wall and you're hitting a wall, right? So always turn yourself around so you see the people coming in. I mean, you're not physically here with me, Diana, but there's actually a chair there on the opposite that you're sitting energetically, right? And I see the door, so I see you walking in, even if it's just an energy flow.
Oh, I love that. Good energy already.
So the first thing. The second thing I would suggest is that they look at what we call the personal energy number and look up their best directions. So people can download the app, the Marie Diamond app. So you go to App Store or Google Play Store and you put in Marie Diamond, yeah? And so you will get an app that will ask two things: your birthday, your full birthday, and your birth gender. It's connect with your energetic blueprint when you were born. And so once you do it, it creates a calculation. It's different than numerology. So don't think, oh, numerology, I'm a 9 and I'm a 4.
Okay. That's good to know.
Right? And then you will get actually an energy number and you will get like -5. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
And so, but what is important is that you will then open the diamond compass. Yeah. And so the diamond compass will indicate 4 directions of the compass that are strong for you. And so what does it mean is that the compass direction stands for the wind that brings positive energy to you, always, your whole life. So mine is southwest. Yeah, I don't know yours. Diana, have you researched that already?
I love the fact that you have an app.
And it's for free, so you can do that. It calculates now.
Oh, yay. This is so
For a
cool.
1, yeah. So a 1, and that you are what we call the archetype of the wealth creator. Yeah.
Yay.
The wealth creator is very good in 2 things, and that is creating sales. Yeah. Creating money, right? And also teaching people how to create money, but also real estate. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's my background, Marie. I
Background,
didn't tell
right?
my entire life. And
So you will see there's a success direction for you is southeast. Yeah. So for you, if you then would open your compass, this will look different than mine, right? So
okay.
your success direction will face southeast.
Right, because we're in the camera.
Oh, because it's a different number, right? So literally what you will do then, you hold your compass, you hold it in the center of the room.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you look where southeast is. Yeah?
Okay.
So where is southeast? You need to activate, that's the acupuncture aspect of it. You need to place there things that are to do with your, for example, the logo of your company or the logo of your podcast or your show, or put like something, images that are there, or like mine is behind me. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's actually,
I
don't
like that.
have to look at it.
I can see it, yes.
I have my awards there. There's some, it's also a cabinet, so I have all my files and important contracts there.
I love
so
that.
all beautifully organized, right?
Okay.
And so if you activate that, especially if you're starting a new business, put your logo there, put, perhaps your business cards, perhaps you have products already, put a portfolio, put there your goals. You can put there your vision board also if you want, yeah, or your journal, anything that is related with creating new vibration.
So I have a book that will be published at the end of this year. I'm super excited. I'm not talking about it yet, but I can't wait to talk about it. Can I put a copy of that book behind me yet, or not yet because it hasn't been out to the world yet?
Totally. It's your field. Yeah.
Okay.
So I remembered I never had a book at a certain moment. And so I just created a fake book, right? And I put like a name on it from a publisher that I wanted to work on. And then the inside, I bought a very famous best-selling book. And that was the inside, and I put the cover on it, and I put it in my success direction, and I got that publisher. So it was really interesting. So you can fake it till you make it, right?
Yes.
You can do that. And then you will see also on the app, and the book Your Home is a Vision Board brings you through all the aspects, but you also will see a relationship direction. Yeah. Now mine is west, yours is south. So based on your birthday, it's different, right? So in the south, I have there a globe. I have there images of my celebrity clients.
Okay.
I have things that show my team, we're taking pictures there. So you put something there that represents that. But I always put a globe there because, even Daphne, what you do, you have perhaps people in other countries that you want to reach. Yeah. So the globe is like a symbol for humanity.
So
right?
that's what part of the app you mentioned that is yourself?
For you, it's your relationship direction.
Oh, relationship.
Yeah?
So that's why you put your team, your celebrity, your clients.
For you, right? For somebody else, relationship can be northeast or southeast or west.
Right.
For birthday. Yeah.
And do you put a picture of like your husband too? Just all relationships?
Well, he's not in my business. So
okay. Oh, I see. Oh, got it.
But in my bedroom, of course, in my relationship direction, I have a beautiful picture of my husband and me. Yeah.
Oh, my south is, well, you said the relationship for me was south. I have a dresser with a mirror. I know you talked about mirror. You're going to tell me. No, I know you are.
Yes.
No
so
mirror.
Because when you have a mirror in the bedroom, you're doubling your bed. But that means also you're doubling yourself. And there have been studies done that people that have a mirror doubling their bed, they have several health issues. They don't sleep so deeply, don't have a lot of REM phases, so rapid eye movement, so they don't recover so fast. They have higher blood pressure and more inflammation. Yeah. But I always say when you're alone and you have a mirror, you're doubling your loneliness. You're coming to your bed, you're very stressed, you're doubling your stress. So the first thing I would say to people, cover your mirrors.
Cover
Put
them,
a screen
okay.
in front of it or a curtain, or take it out if you can. And don't forget, a television can be looking like a mirror because it has a reflective glass. So what you can do instead of that mirror, right, during the night, put a screen in front of it, or perhaps you can if you don't use that mirror that much, put a beautiful pictures on it.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love this app. I'm so obsessed already. Thank you for doing mine. And then you mentioned so what are the elements? I mean, obviously we'll check out the app, but what are the elements? It's relationships. You mentioned.
Yeah, so there are four pillars that we're talking about. One is success, and success stands for money and abundance and career and business. Then you have a relationship one. So in your business, that's your clients and your team. In your bedroom, it's your partner. And you, in your living room, in your family, it's your family, right? I would never put pictures of my siblings in my bedroom of my office, because that's not where they would visit, right? So they would visit me in the family room. I can put that there. So you also have your wisdom direction and your health direction. So health would be definitely never have clutter, and your health direction could be, for example, you do yoga, you put your yoga mat there, for example, or you can books on health. I mean, there's so much you can do with that. And wisdom is all that inspires you, but also your spiritual and religious connection. Like, for example, if you're a Christian, you can put a Bible there, right? So, because Feng Shui is just an energy system, honors everybody's belief system. If you, for example, believe more in angels, you could put an angel there. Or you want to focus on studying and you're like, oh, I want to study in my office, I would not put an image of an angel there, perhaps, but I would perhaps put a book, I'm studying AI, I want to be inspired by AI, right?
Right.
So it thinks you're studying, right? If you're not focused on spiritual or religious beliefs.
So that's amazing, because there's all these different aspects you mentioned. What about healing, Marie? If someone, maybe had some health problems, is there something that could promote healing of your physical self?
Yeah. So there's a few things I always suggest to people is, again, going to the mirrors, try to cover the mirrors, you will recover much faster. The second thing is that we always focus on the bedroom. First of all, what's on your nightstand? Like, is there clutter around you? Definitely don't have clutter under the bed where your body is healing. Like, say you have problems in your shoulders and there's clutter under your bed where your shoulders are, it will affect you. But also there are some colors for healing. Like, I'm actually wearing one like a green because of the wooden snake today. The new wind, I'm wearing something green to honor the wooden snake. Yeah.
Oh, so
and I have some green. A water bottle in green today because I want to honor the wooden snake this year, right? But bring around beautiful lush plants, not in your bedroom. I would focus on your living room and your family room to have some lush plants. Crystals can be very beneficial to support your health. Definitely on your nightstand, put a crystal.
Any color?
Depends a little bit on your zodiac sign, but I would definitely go for jade. A white quartz crystal is very good. Wash your crystal regularly so that it's cleaned all the time. But also one of the things is sleeping in the right direction can help you and activate your health direction. So if you look at your app, there are 4 directions that are positive and there are 4 that are empty. Okay. So we have seen if people with their head would sleep towards one of their 4 good directions, they will heal easier.
One of their 4 good directions.
And there are directions that are empty, don't sleep towards it. It's harder to get healing done. But it's not just that you're getting faster healed, but you also sometimes will attract a better doctor or better modalities. So it's all about changing the law of attraction of your healing.
I love that. I know people have had their rearrange their bedrooms, but you never want to put a bed towards a window, correct?
Well, I would override that sometimes,
Okay,
you know, sometimes that's the only good direction for them.
true.
Then I would say to them, make sure it doesn't become a window anymore. Put very thick curtains so it becomes looks like a wall, and then the curtains are in the same color as the wall, so it becomes like a wall energy. Because sleeping the right direction overrides sleeping at a window. Yeah, but I would definitely try to avoid having the door to the bathroom open or have like an open space to the bathroom. That would be more problematic. But also what hangs above the headboard, you know, if people have health issues, try to avoid any water images in the bedroom or anything with too much blue. I mean, you can add a little bit of blue, but not like blue curtains, blue wallpaper. Really creates a lot of issues for people. So try to avoid that.
So depending on your sign, like you mentioned, what you just did, there could be colors that work for you in the bedroom.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a little bit more advanced feng shui.
Yes,
That
of
a little
course.
bit,
No, that's
yeah.
amazing. So really quickly, where can we find this app again? We go to the Apple
So
Store,
go to the Apple Store, you put in Marie Diamond, and
Marie
you will see
Diamond.
the energy number, and you can download it. It's you just have to put your information in. Allow also notifications because you get course every day, you get steps every day to work with. Yeah. And then if you want to upgrade, you can, and then you are brought into a whole feng shui program for the whole year. And so there's also, you can also help others to find out their numbers, right?
Yes, I will.
So,
Yes.
and there's a lot of videos on there that can help you to start.
You talked a lot about, gosh, energy and the rooms and what direction and colors. When would you suggest that somebody upgrade their space? You know, is it after a couple years? Is it after, 6 months? Or is it just evolving that you should be doing it, a little more often than yearly?
Well, I definitely would say every year when there's new winters coming in, right? So that's why we have every year a program. Like now we have the Feng Shui 2025 program. There are certain things and activations you need to do. So that is always a good start. But it is an ongoing element to it also. I'd say you do all the right activations, you put everything in your success direction, but meanwhile you keep having clutter all around you. That will not help you, right? So I always say to people, once a year is a good thing, but my diehard students, they're like every month they're looking at it like, is this still me? Is this still who I represent? Yeah. If you have a new book coming out, you will put it out. If you have a new product going out, hey, you have new friends, so keep looking around you because everything around you is a three-dimensional vision board.
Yes.
And if you have changed and you don't update your vision board around you, then you're keeping connecting with your old program.
Absolutely. That's interesting when you talk about that your vision board is a three-dimensional. Are physical vision boards still important? If you did all the other stuff that you mentioned about, your space in the real life, is a physical vision board on a wall that important if you did everything else, or would you say it's just an added bonus?
Well, I love starting with a vision board. So like in the book, Your Home as a Vision Board, I teach you how to make a vision board based on your birthday,
Yeah.
right? Because when people have that, then they have like almost like a mood board, right?
Yes.
And then from there, I'm teaching them to look at their home, right? From that mood board. Like then it's like, oh, in my relationship, that's what I want. And then they look at their relationship direction like, oh, right, I don't want to be single, but I have like a single elephant hanging there. Like it's just like, so look at what you have created and that vision board and then extend it to your the other side. And then some people do hang the vision board out, others just take pictures of it. I have it, like I said, on the screensaver on their phone. I always print it out. I have it with me when I go somewhere and have some time on the airplane or something, and I'm looking like, oh, what did I put in again, right? And just reading it again. And so I just see it as a tool, but there are some people that don't hang it out. But I'm in favor of hanging it out, at least in one place where you spend 3 to 5 hours. And it can be your bedroom, yeah? And some people say, but I don't like my partner to see my vision board. And said, Daniel, your relationship is off. You know,
You got bigger problems than a vision board at this.
have bigger problems, right?
It's funny you mentioned that about partners, because what are your thoughts if somebody wants to do a vision board and they have their separate partners have separate businesses and they have each in their own separate endeavors, but they want to do a vision board together. Should they do one together, like maybe the family stuff, and then do a separate one for their business, or should they do one together because they're going to stare at this together? Because I always felt like, no, I want my own vision board. I don't want to do one with my husband necessarily, but then we also do one with the kids. So
But you can make something together. That's totally fine. The system I'm using is based on your birthday, so that could be then instead of taking the birthday of both of you, right? You can take the birthday, for example, when you got a marriage or when you got together, right? That's also a kind of a birthday, right? So, like,
oh, you put that date.
like the 7th of September, 1991, that's our wedding date. So that's like a birthday of our relationship in a way. So we put that in there in the app and then see what comes out. It could be the start of a business, like when was a business created? Yeah, when it became public, like when did you put it into the register, right? That's also a birthday. Yeah, so you can play with that. So sometimes we do that for businesses, for relationships, for family. You can play with that, but you need a birthday to start the process.
So my vision board is across from my desk, and I have like two little boards but to try to make it into one big one, and it's right there. So when I come into the office, I see it when I sit down. Is that a good place for it?
Well, I don't know the direction of it.
That's
Yeah.
true. We gotta make sure the direction is good. But depending on the four elements you mentioned, the pillars, where would you put your vision board when someone goes on that?
Well, the success direction, and if you cannot put it there, put it in the wisdom direction. Yeah, because it's inspiration. Now, let's say you cannot do it because there are windows or whatever. I always say then put it somewhere where you see it a lot. Like that could be across of your desk. Yeah. Like sometimes you cannot do the best directions for you, but then put it somewhere where you can see it a lot.
Is it overkill, Marie, if someone does a vision board on the right location for success in their office and then they do it again in their home office?
No, you can never overkill with that,
Oh, yes. I go big with everything I do, Marie. I go big or go home, sometimes to a fault. So I had to ask that.
It is okay because I always say the more you see it, the more your subconscious mind gets the messages. Yeah. It's like when people say, oh, I have a goal and they write it down one time, nothing will happen, right? So by reading it, by seeing a visual of it, if it's in your office, if it's in your bedroom, right? So it's like you're reprogramming yourself. So you cannot reprogram yourself with doing something once.
That's true. That's very true. It's got to be repetitive. So I wanted to tell you something. We talked a lot about your subconscious, the energy, your environment. When someone comes and says, I did this thing, and they go to your app, which is amazing. I can't wait to just tell the world, because I can't believe I feel horrible that I didn't know about this app. So your marketing team, put it out there more, because
That's why we have this conversation today, right?
That's amazing. So they go and do this thing and they change their environment. I know that there is also the feeling of your energy. So, and I know I kind of touched on this earlier, but when someone is seeing themselves on a vision board and it aligns because you did all the environment, meditation is another thing that can happen, whether the way that I see it, you can be meditating on your bed, you could be meditating. I'm always feel that I'm always looking to do better and progress with my meditation habits. And sometimes I'm just at my desk and I just have to get my mind right. And I just even put an alarm to just take a moment to just stop. Even now that I'm doing this breath with you, it feels good to just breathe. But your energy has to match that. Have you ever had a situation where somebody did the vision board, maybe did the colors and the environment and the right space? And you mentioned earlier, there could be a conflict because you're not open to receive, you need to forgive yourself. And maybe that's what it is, but where they're not aligning that they're feeling worth the thing that they want to attract and manifest. You mentioned the subconscious mind, and I believe you have to convince yourself, you have to have that faith that this is going to happen for you. when you do the vision board, and I talk about this with my team, we're cutting out the magazine, of course, with intention, and what are we doing on purpose? What do we want to attract first? Not just, rolling the dice and seeing if it sticks, right? Being intentional. And even just the work that you're doing when you're creating the vision board, I do feel that creates the energy that gets you to start imagining what's possible. Would you say meditation is also an essential part of changing that paradigm of maybe?
Yeah, it is. For me, it is. I mean, that's why I'm always teaching people meditation, right? In all my courses, there's always meditation included. So even on the app, there is actually a meditation that, more than 1 million people of my students take every day. And it's called your Tubes of Light meditation. And so it's a basic meditation with colors, that you can do anywhere. It's a 5-minute meditation. So it's very short. But once people do that, they are putting themselves in the right frequency to connecting with their soul and heart. And they're like, every day they're letting go of energy that is old, right? And they are tapping into that highest energy that they can connect with at that moment. And so people do that all the time, every morning. They're literally, I come to families and the kids come to me and they're like, repeating the whole meditation, and they're so used to listen to it, right? And it's a short meditation that is very, very easy to work with. And so what meditation does, it helps you to set yourself in the right frequency. And because life is overwhelming, sometimes it's chaotic, and so we need that moment to just not only take a deep breath in, but we need to align ourselves again with who we truly are, that God presence in ourselves. And so when you do that, and I do this with colors because I work with people all over the world, and the colors do work well, and they love it. Whatever religion they are, they can do this meditation. And when you do that, you're on again, like your light is on. Right? You switch yourself back on. And that is what meditation can do, is 2 things. It can decompress yourself, that you're like, okay, I'm releasing all this heaviness around me. But the second part of meditation, always you need to go back on. So it's like, I'm in my highest frequency. I'm always in the best level of myself, right? And the best level of yourself is not your ego best. Remember, it's your soul best.
It's your soul best. That's amazing. And that's what we get caught up with, especially during this time. I mean, we're so, that person has that. And it's so ego sometimes driven, like you mentioned. Has anyone ever felt guilty about having, what would you say to that? Because they're saying, hey, I work hard for what I have. I even talk about myself. I wear my blessings well. I work hard. I'm not taking any of this when I go to heaven. That's my belief of where I'm going after this lifetime. What would you say to that? Should you feel guilty that you have your dream car or your dream house? Because you mentioned experiences, and I'm so big on that. What's the meaning behind this? Because then what? You became a millionaire, then what? When I coach clients myself one-on-one, which I don't do one-on-ones anymore, but when I did, I'm like, okay, what's the purpose? What's the reason that you want to be a millionaire? And one time someone said, I just want to be a millionaire. And I'm like, okay, what's a millionaire going to allow you to do? Oh, I can go to cigar lounges and I can do this. I said, is there a reason that you can't do that now? I guess I could. How do you translate that when someone wants the material things, but maybe they say, hey, I want money because it affords me to take my entire family who can't afford to go to the Caribbean for vacation?
I think that's totally fine, right? It's if that is what in your soul feels that this is what your experience needs to be. I am not going to be the one judging you for that, and you shouldn't judge yourself for that either. But there's also another aspect that I always say to people, look, when you're thinking about money, when you're thinking about physical goods, always think about the impact it has to you, right? So, I ask myself every day, I am here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Show me how. It's my first question I ask every day. Show me how. God, universe, whatever you call it, show me how, right? And so for me, I'm focusing on my impact. And so I'm not focusing on the money that it brings me. Of course, it brings me more money. If I have millions of people following me and millions of people studying with me, it will bring me income. But then what do I do with that? Do I create more impact? Do I have then the ability to create a free app? right? Do I then have the ability to set up a podcast or, do a lot for free online? Because not everybody can pay my fees, right? I'm a
Right.
master level, so it's normal. But I can always give back, and it can create more impact. And there are people all over the world that are, watching these little videos and like, oh my God, I can do this, I can do this. There's sometimes people feel so helpless, and they have these little things they can do, and they feel like, oh my God, my life has shifted since I have watched you on this or on The Secret or whatever. So that's the impact. And so I would say, yes, you can have all these things, but always ask yourself, how can I create more positive impact for my family, for my community, for my country, for the world? Like, how can I contribute? And for me, it's a big deal of always giving back, And for me, giving back is by also making sure a lot of people have, access to me online that they normally could never have been able to talk to me. I mean, literally, if people DM me on Instagram, I answer, right? It's not my team that answers. I actually answer my DM
Oh,
messages,
you answered me, Marie. I'm living
right?
proof.
Right? So I do that because I don't see that as, I don't look from a perspective of money. I think about, oh my God, this is impact. That is an hour of my time, yeah, that I give away, right? To answer the people. And there are people that have whole conversations and are sometimes really in a bad space. And I, give them some tools and like, why don't you put a team member in it? No, because that is my pulse. I have a connection with my people that are following me, and I will take an hour of my time. My husband's like, "You're back on social media." Like, I have no idea. This is my impact
Your
time.
husband and mine alike, Marie. They should talk to each other and understand why we got to be on that gosh darn social media. It's so funny that you mentioned that because when you said, your fees, not everybody can pay your fees. I love what I do. I do get paid to speak. I'm a keynote speaker. However, there's times that I'm speaking for something for just the greater good, and they're not able to pay me. And I just love to do things like that as well. And my husband's like, gosh, you would just speak for free all the time if sometimes I'm like, this is my passion. I mean, I have a story and I was that person, and to be able to drop of wisdom and to change someone's perspective on something that they might be going through is so impactful. You cannot put a price to that. And yes, this is a business. Yes, I have a business, obviously. And I saw people doing all these things and changing people's lives. And I'm like, and they're making money for this. That's the added cherry on top, that I get to have money. I can make money doing something that absolutely fills my heart, and that comes from a genuine place of conviction, because I walk through the lines. Nothing I talk about is anything that I haven't gone through myself. When I walk on stage.
Transformation, and then you can share it. I mean, I was just recently in Dubai and I was speaking for 8,000 people there, and of course I get well paid to speak there, right? But like, I come out of my hotel and the bellman, right, or the concierge comes to me like, oh my God, I have your app, and he's like, I have my life shifted. I got this job because of following what I did on this app, and it was for free, and I follow everything on your Instagram. Oh my God, what are you doing here in this hotel? And then I was like, I had to get an Uber, and my Uber app didn't work. And he's like, I'm buying you an Uber ride to thank you for everything, right? And I was in tears, I was
That's
like, oh my
amazing.
God. I mean, you don't always get the direct impact of what you bring to the world, but it's also the intention you put it out, right? If you have the intention of, I want to impact people in a positive way, money always flows back, and I don't have to think about that anymore, right? And there's, of course, and I call myself a little bit a spiritual Robin Hood. So in a sense of like, hey, the very wealthy, they pay me super well, right? And then, but I keep my online courses very reasonable priced, so that a lot of people can follow them. And I give a lot for free available for people. One day perhaps they will pay a course, but most of the time they can't. We can't afford it. But that's fine by me, because the ones that really can pay me well, they pay me well.
And you get so much in return. Even when I'm talking on stage, even when I'm doing something, even, talking to you, I'm getting so filled with, you get so much in return. You mentioned intention, and I love that you said that, because I'm knocking on doors. I have a sales background. When you did the app on me, I was like, oh my gosh. And I had a real estate career. I mean, I still hold my license, but I don't really have time other than our own personal properties. But um, intention is everything. And when you're being intentional on the things that you love or that you're doing, you get so much in return, right? It's about what you're doing that then translates into something else. As I've been in sales my whole life, right? I've been in sales my whole career. Since I was 3 years old, my mom said I memorized my parents, sales presentation. They used to knock on doors selling stainless steel pots and pans. And I was 3.5 years old and I memorized the whole sales presentation. So there I was, entrepreneur in training. But I've been in sales my entire life. And I talk about this on my podcast, many episodes. I probably repeat myself because I'm so adamant about this. I'm knocking on doors. Why? You mentioned intention. What's your intention? I'm knocking on these doors like crazy. It's like that farmer. When's it gonna rain? I'm planting my seeds, and I'm like, keep going. And then all of a sudden, in left field, some opportunity comes, and I'm like, but I was looking this way, and I was doing my intention. Or like you said, you're talking to the bellman and doing things, with other people that can't afford the training or what have you, or me being on stage for a nonprofit or a charity event that they can't afford to pay me for my fees, because all of that comes back in tenfolds. And all of a sudden something comes out of left field. You're like, where'd that come from? It came from the intention that how you're living your life.
Yeah. Another question I ask myself every morning is, how can I love more? Yeah. It's a very powerful question. How can I love more myself, first of all? How can I love more my partner? How can I love more my children? How can I love more the world? How can I love more my students? I'm always like, okay, this is a program, and I'm thinking, oh, I could do this extra and more generosity there. And like, this is what my students are aware of. Like, they always get much more than they paid for, and it's not a sales pitch. It's just like, as I have done the course already, I'm thinking, oh, they should have this and they should have this. And like, because I think, oh, I want to love more my students, right? And so that's why I have more than 2 million online students. And many of them, they are already 10, 20 years with me, right? For anything I bring, because they feel the key factor of my business is love. Yeah. And so once they know that, and once they know, like, I love what I do, I love teaching this, I love my students, right? And that's actually what happens. And so when people say, what is your biggest marketing tool? It's love.
Love does conquer all. You just made that point. I love that so much. How can I love more? I'm always asking, like, my 10 and 9-year-old, yet again, even when my two older ones, like, how am I doing? I'm checking in with them. Like, how can I be better mommy? And I'm like sitting there, what else are they gonna tell me? Oh, we like to have more ice cream, one of my 9-year-olds said. I'm like, haha, that's funny. But I love that, because you just mentioned something more self-reflecting on yourself. Is how could I love more? How could I give more? And that you mentioned earlier, like, just asking for clarity. Ask and you shall receive is so powerful. And just saying, how can I love more my clients? How can I love more my family? And I do believe love, when you mentioned it so beautifully, and you gave me a lot to think about, and what I'm going to start asking myself, what I'm going to steal what you just said. Everything grows from love, right, Marie?
Yeah, it totally does. And so, I mean, it's not something normally in business, but, when I work with my high-end clients and celebrities, that will be their first question. And like, like, oh, I'm stuck there, or that's moving. Like, is that loving to yourself, right? Is that what love is for you, right? And like, no, I really want to do this. And say, well, why don't you go that direction, right? If that's what love is for you, right? Because I do believe if you do what love is for you, that it will be reflected in everything around you, in the people that are surrounding you, in your business, in your abundance, if you do what love is for you, right? And so when people ask me, like, oh my God, Marie, you're 35 years with the same husband, like, you have all these amazing friends and colleagues, and you have all this accomplished, I mean, if I would have done that out of fear, if I would have done that out of greed, I mean, I would not have so far this amazing life. I mean, there were setbacks. I mean, did not know always how to do that. I had a difficult upbringing, and I had to really learn to forgive and love myself more. But when I look back now at teaching this for 30 years and impacting so many people, then I'm like, even a total unknown person like me got into the secret with all these very top people, and I was totally unknown. I think 1,000 people knew about me, but hey, that was an opportunity that came out of the blue for me, right? Or publishers or clients that they call me like, where do they come from? I have no idea. But this is because you create this positive vibration, and the universe is not always, or God is not always saying what you do will come back right away, but it will come in many ways and many forms.
It's responding.
Yeah.
It responds to you. And by the way, you look just as young as you did on The Secret. And I am not just saying that to make you feel good. You really do.
Yeah, many people say it, but this is all natural. So
yes, that's good. And you live in LA, and that's natural.
yeah, but it's also because I'm meditating every day. I have a high frequency. I love what I do. I work hard. Don't get me wrong. I work long hours some days, because there's so much work to do. But it's like, and I live a healthy lifestyle, of course. But I've seen also when your home is aligned with what you want to do, that a lot of my students get a lot of compliments that they look younger, because the light is on, they are happy, they're enjoying their lives. It's because everything is aligned, and it really reflects if your home there's no clutter around, there's no resistance, there's all positive energy. You will really feel it in your body, and you will also keep looking younger.
Absolutely. That's great. So what is Marie Diamond's routine?
What is the Marie Diamond routine?
Yeah. What's your day-to-day routine? Like what time do you wake? How early do you wake up?
Oh, depends. I think 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
I sleep mostly 7, 8 hours. So in the beginning, I do my meditation. I ask myself the questions. I try to have breakfast with my husband because the rest of the day he doesn't see me, right? And it's still very late sometimes in the evening when we can connect. The moment I can, I have lunch or dinner with my family, playing with the dogs. I always take time to play with my dogs, to have that joyful fun, right?
Yes.
Walking if I can, or working out a little bit. At the end of the day, I always do contemplation. I look back at my day, could be journaling, could be just doing it in my mind. Have I done enough for today? Could I change something the next day? Have I loved enough, right? Have I done enough for other people? And then, yeah, that's like kind of my routine, and being present in every moment. Yeah, that's like, I think it's a routine for me. Like I'm here now with you. I am here with you, right? And now with my team, I like the whole morning we had team meetings. I'm so present. I always make sure we can laugh. I call myself a spiritual stand-up comedian. So I like laughing a lot, dancing a lot. We just had 5 days with all transformation leaders in Mexico, where we, gather every 6 months to have a little bit of a travel time. There were several people from The Secret there also. And we just like deep conversations, as many as I can.
That's
if I'm
great.
online with somebody, it's like go deep, go with the heart, be present. And I don't think so much about the future, right? I don't think so much about the past. I'm like, okay,
Here
I'm
and now.
present in who I am.
And there's such a value with being present. And I feel that, when you're looking at the past, it's like a rear view mirror. You're looking in the rear view mirror where you're going to stumble, and you're looking at the past, what you didn't do, and all the things we talked about forgiveness. But it's kind of funny. You talked about your husband, and I want to talk about that because you've been married for 30 years, you mentioned?
35, yeah.
35 years. So what would you tell someone listening right now that has been married maybe 20 years, maybe 10, maybe 30 like you, and I know there's the second question is what's the secret to being happily married? Obviously, there's ups and downs, like you mentioned. There's not always easy. But if someone says, my husband is so annoying, or how do you go through life, and what's your go-to
Yeah.
if you've ever gotten upset with your partner?
Yeah.
Without ruining your energy and your vibration, right? It's easier said than done sometimes.
Well, set up good feng shui. That's the first thing, right?
Okay.
The second is, I traveled a lot through the years, right? I've done more than 32 countries worldwide. I travel about one third to a half the year to do seminars and for clients. I would say that one of the main things, like I have three children with my husband, is that each time I came back, I prioritized my husband. Yeah. I made sure there was first a day that I would talk and he would talk, because even if you're traveling, even if you're on the phone, you haven't been able to tell everything, right? So I just came back from Mexico. So, yesterday evening, this morning, I took time for him. We had a nice breakfast, like, oh, I didn't tell this, I didn't tell this. He tells what he has to share. So really taking time for each other to listen. We are each other best friends. Like there are things that nobody in the world knows except my husband, and vice versa, right? So we know each other inside out. And that has been very helpful for me to always take time for him, because sometimes we're just, and especially also with the family, we are very big on long dinners. We're Europeans, so we love long dinners, right? Or, long Sunday breakfast, brunch times, talking with the kids and laughing a lot. Yeah, it just, and explore each other's life. And I always fell in love again with my husband, and he falls in love with me again. There are moments that is a bit less, yeah, because
Right.
your parents, your friends, you're collaborating on certain things, and then like this moments you're like fall in love again. And yeah, and I just, I appreciate him a lot. I say a lot thank you to him. He says that a lot to me. And he's in a different state of his life. He's retired already many years. So, I mean, his world is different than mine.
Especially with him being retired now.
Being retired, and he takes care of so many things in our houses, takes care of, finances and so on. And like, oh, you took out the garbage. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you. I mean, it's not like, oh, I appreciate you that you brought in $1 million, because he's retired, right?
It's all the little things, right?
It's little things, right? It's not the big things. Like every time I come back home, there's a bouquet of flowers for me. He had learned over the years that I don't like red flowers and I like big flowers. So,
is there a feng shui thing with red flowers in a marriage?
Oh no, I just
making sure, because I love red roses.
Yeah, red is not my thing. I love pink. So he loves very much red. So if I do something, I will give something in red to him. But no, it's just small things in life, to be honest. And also don't hold on to grudges. I mean, there are things that he did wrong, things I did wrong in the relationship, not big things, but things you could hold a grudge on. And now we see that as like our fun stories. Like, oh, do you remember, right? When you did this and this, and the kids are very good in remembering us both. Like, oh, mom, do you remember this situation, this situation? So even the hardships, we can look back at it and laugh. We're like, oh my God, do you remember?
You laugh at it now that you look back. So I know you mentioned your husband's retired now. I'm sure you can think of a time when you guys both were working and things got hectic. Did you have some sort of rule that you did if you were upset at each other? Or, it's funny, and to add to that, so I have a thing on top of my bed. It's a little corny, but probably very, trendy in the past. It's like, always kiss me goodnight. And it's on the wall above our bed. And I'm like, you don't always kiss me goodnight. We're doing something wrong. I'm going to definitely go to that app and figure out the colors and the environment, because that clearly isn't always the case, but obviously, we're busy. We have.
I mean, it's not always about the kissing, but I always definitely always say to him, "Good night, sweetheart. You know, I love you." Right? So even if I had like a big blow, it doesn't happen a lot, but you never know. Sometimes
Yeah.
these things is that I would say, you know, "Love you, sweetheart." I would call him. So even if I'm traveling, I call him 3 times a day. In the morning, did you sleep well? What's your day look like? This is what my day looks like. Halfway, I'm like, everything is fine. And then the evening, I would call him and like, wherever I am in the time zones, you know, sometimes that's morning where I am. I would say, you know, sweetheart, I just want to say good night to you. Yeah, I love you. I hope you had a wonderful day. So it's just keep that. You know, I share a lot. I love you to him. I say a lot. I thank you, because that is juice. That is
That
energy
is
that's
so, yeah.
going. And it doesn't mean always that you have to be wild and passionate, but really touching people's heart, is really helpful also in relationships. I mean, my kids, we always hug each other when we go to sleep. There's a lot of I love you here in this home, and we mean
Yes.
it. I mean, my kids want to hang out with me, even if they're older, even if they're already grown ups. That always shows that you have
That's
some.
a really, yes, absolutely. That's awesome. I know it sounds to me when you talk a lot about the little things and being present,
Yeah.
almost like eating dinner, eating lunch, and not just like gulping your food, but really be present and chewing your food. I feel like the little things that you mentioned in your relationship and relationships really, and almost like a plant, like you got to water it and feed it because those are the juices. So I love that. Thank you so much. And I feel like we could be here for hours, and I'm
I
so
know, I know.
honored to be here with
But
you.
on top of it, I'm also a really good cook, so I love cooking for my family.
I love
So
cooking too. I could cook every day. I'm always the one with those Instagram. I forward it to my personal one if I'm on my business one or vice versa, and I'll save it. And I have so many. I love recipes, so I could live in the kitchen. I'm like, maybe I should have done that. Just been a person just posting about recipes and cooking. Sometimes I'll
I'm sure that would have been as successful, Diana.
yes, thank you so much. So just to wrap up, Marie, you've been
Yeah,
so successful. You're
yeah.
doing what you love, and clearly it's so authentic and so real. There's so much people doing great things, and there's other people doing, the transformational work and very gimmicky and let's be honest, and selling things, but you're just very raw and just as I imagined you when I learned about you years ago. And thank you so much for all that you're doing in the world to impact more than 500 million humans in the universe. So being as successful as you've been, do you have any fears? And if so, what do you do if you attempt to have some sort of fear come your way?
Well, we live in LA, so we just got through the fires in LA, and of course there is fear, right? When you're evacuated, you're like, will I see my home again the next day? I don't know. It's so close. Um, but there's of course fear of like you're aging. I hope my health will stay well. Can I keep contributing to humanity in a good way, right? This fears like, oh, you have children. There's always some fears, when you have children. I mean, that is the human part of us. And I would say, don't say that doesn't exist. It does exist, even for the greatest ones. And I've met many great people in my life. They always have some fears, but it's all about, do you linger? Do you stay in that fear level, right? So even if we had to leave our home, like we did prayers with the angels and um, protections, I would send out emails to my people like, please send prayers, for everyone that is affected, like it's all about, how do you respond to that fear, right? And it's like, of course, I'm in my last, I would say, half of my life. Interesting enough is that, of course, you don't know how you will end up when you're 90, 95, but you cannot think about that either. You have to stay present and be, because having fears also loses your energy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what can I do in the present time about that right now, right? So I'm a very practical person in many ways. I'm like, okay, when we need to evacuate, okay, this is where you have the list. We have everything with us. We have the jewelry, we have this, everything is fine. Let's go. We have our hotel. So then I focus always on the most practical things I can do at that moment. Yeah. And not to blow up that fear. That's kind of how I live my life. I'm not going into that fear. I try not to, right? So try to do something positive that you can do at that moment. Yeah. And if it's possible, you cannot do anything, but you can always do prayer. You can always do meditation. You can do some journaling. You can talk to a good friend to explain and share your fear. I mean, there's always a little small things you can do. And I really am a big believer in the small things, right? Because I do believe if we are consistently do small things, there's a big wave coming. Right? It's a big wave coming from goodness and kindness. And I just try to be at that moment as kind and good with myself and with my family as possible.
As possible. And it's all vibrational energy, as you mentioned. And that's what I talk a lot about. It's like you're going to feel sometimes in your journey, hello, the wildfires, that's a good reason to be a little, but it's what you do, how you respond, like you mentioned, and not to stay on there because, well, first of all, you'll be on that vibrational energy, right? So I love that you just mimicked and confirmed what I've been really, doing and being consistent that, yeah, I might feel fear of this, or I might say, well, what happens with this happens, but you got to change that, so that you don't start to send that out to the universe. And it sounds really corny to some people, like, well, you're just going to have this voodoo thing going on, but no, it's a real thing. It's a real thing that if you don't pay attention to what are you telling the universe, what is your energy?
And I think there are many people that I'm thinking about, firefighters or military in certain countries, they're moving forward. I mean, they have fear for their life, right? But they don't think about it. They're looking at what is the next practical step I can do, right?
Exactly.
Right. And so, and of course, there are things that happen in the world that are messed up and they are chaotic. And are we responsible for that? No, but we can add fuel to it and add fire to it by adding fear to it. Yeah. And adding our own chaos to it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's what you try not to do. That's why you don't go into judging what is happening. You look from a perspective of compassion and thinking, what can I do today? And sometimes the only thing you have left is prayer.
It's prayer.
Right?
Yes.
And but still that is different than going into a panic attack. Right?
100%. I always just said this last week. I said, sometimes you may not know what to do. But you got to take action. Just start doing something, whatever that is. It could mean getting on your knees and praying for clarity, praying for whatever that is, maybe for forgiveness. So I love so much that you said that. I know we talked about a lot of things. I hope that people are taking this and saying, wow, I have been missing out on some stuff, or they're like, hey, I didn't know this about Marie, because I know that I learned so many new things about you as I watched you and followed you. What would you say one thing that you would tell your younger self, Marie? What would that be?
Yeah, it's a question that people ask me a lot lately, and I'm always thinking, if I would go back to my younger self, I think I would tell her, all the things you have gone through, later on, you will see them as amazing stories. And these stories really has helped many people to transform their life. The story how I forgave my father. I mean, I have a whole course that thousands of people on forgiveness, but at that moment, I was a devastating experience, right? Being physically and emotionally abused by my father. But as I was able to forgive him, like now I have been able to help so many people with forgiveness, right? So I would go back and many times to my younger self saying like, I know this was tough, but you will use that story and share it and it will uplift so many others. I think that's what I would tell her.
So thank you for that. I know I've learned a lot about you, and even just hearing that you had a near to, life-death experience. And that obviously you get to tell your story. How did you survive that? How did you overcome that?
Well, I had a near-death experience when I was 15, and I was declared dead, and I went to the other side. I mean, literally meeting beings of light. I cannot explain it differently.
Wow.
And getting there the message that I had to go back, that I was here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Now, I had no freaking idea what that meant at that time. I was 15. I would say if I would be my 15-year-old self, I would start a TikTok account, right? So
I went from having chills to your story to just laughing. TikTok. Oh my goodness. You would be a sensation. Number one TikToker.
yeah, I would share about like what I experienced on the other side or something, right?
Yes.
What it did to me is like I asked myself that question over and over again, and it would be like, oh, if I can make a difference with one person every day, right? Somebody in my school, somebody from the teachers, somebody in my community, somebody in my church, whoever it would be, if I can make one difference, one person difference. I even had calculated how much thousands of people that would be if I would turn like 90, right? And I was like, that's not enough. I would never get to the 500 million if I do it that way, right? So, but for me, it was like, yeah, that attitude, right, of being of service, being of impact, that definitely changed this for me, right? Of course, my health was not good afterwards. I had very difficult time to study. I went from a straight A+ student to a straight F student. I had to do my year again. I lost another year, but I still became a lawyer, right? I still became,
Amazing.
did a lot of studies. And I mean, it took me 2 years longer than most people because I had all these health issues. But at the same time, I also felt, there's a reason for that I go through all this, and God, universe is guiding me, and I know there will be an answer to my question. How will that happen? I mean, I never would thought that one day we would be on a laptop talking to each other, Diana. I mean, right? I mean, that didn't even exist.
Right.
But I do remember a few years after that experience, I had this dream where I was shown like myself talking to people and like a big screen, like cinema screen. I saw myself on like television screen, but I saw myself also like on this kind of screen and small screen.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was like, what is that? Right? Now, of course, the tablet, the iPhone was not invented yet, right, at that time. But I was also like, okay, on television, I could see perhaps if I'm a journalist or like something like this. But the big screen, that was like far-fetched for me. And now I'm in more than 15 documentaries. I've seen myself
Now you're like, I'm everywhere. It's all
right?
at this
on the big screen. I've seen myself there a lot. So it's really interesting. So I got a clue, right? But I had no idea what I was going to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. The journey unfolds. It was a moment that was very transformational for me. But I still just had to follow and listen the path and the guidance till where I am right now. And we were just talking to the team, and they were like, "Oh, Marie, we just like looked at all the last 10 years, just the last 10 years, all interviews. You did more than 1,000 interviews in the last 10 years." And I'm like thinking, wow, probably in the first 10 years, I did already so much interviews. Not the first 10 years. That was like, nobody was interested in interviews at that time. But for the last, I mean, think about 1,000 interviews. How many people have you reached? I don't know, just by interviews. But it's all about having the presence every interview to connect with the people that are listening, that are watching, and to I really I'm downloading, I'm receiving the information they need to hear. I'm not telling them the information I need to hear, but the information I know they need to hear, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Before I did this podcast, before I go on, whether I'm doing a speaking engagement, I do my little prayer and I say, God, give me the wisdom, give me the words that I'm supposed to speak right now. And so I do feel that we're always being divinely guided, as you mentioned earlier. And I do my journaling, and I'll say to myself, I'm being divinely guided. And even when things go wrong, I'm being divinely guided, maybe to another route right now. So this is amazing. I think that you need to do an episode on your podcast because I can tell you right now, people want to know, what does Marie Diamond's vision board look like? What is a Feng Shui and vision board master? What does her vision board look like?
Yeah, it's interesting. My students always ask me to show it, and I never show it because I have people on there that I have NDAs with.
Oh,
So I cannot really show
no,
them
no,
some
of
of my
course.
clients because they want to keep like more private, right? Um, but yeah, it's always different for everybody, you know.
Of course.
But yeah, I just keep it always like quite private, to be
And
honest. Yeah.
you mentioned a lot about the app. And when you look at the app, it's exactly, I can already, even with what you just said, and and one of the pillars is your relationship, your clients. So I feel like you left a lot of clues on what you should do.
Yeah. So yeah, there's I mean, you can find out a lot on my website, some of my clients, but there are some clients, of course, that, keep it quite private,
Of course. No, that's
I
understandable.
understand that because there are also politicians and celebrities,
Of course, that's amazing. So
and,
I
you know,
know you have an online training, and
yeah.
where can people find your online training? Do they go to mariediamond.com?
Yeah, they go best to mariediamond.com. If they have the app, they scroll down, there's always advertising that they
Okay,
see
so they'll
on
see it
it.
on
But
there.
I think the best is to mariediamond.com. There's a pop-up that says always the latest program right now. We're focusing on Feng Shui for the wooden snake year. So to do all the steps and also to create a vision board based on your birthday for 2025, because every year we create a new vision board. So
Amazing.
that's actually what people can focus on the most.
Oh,
And
awesome. And we're
it
definitely
is
gonna
it is our top priority seminar. Thousands of people take it and they come back every year because it's so life-changing. Yeah.
so impactful. And we're gonna definitely have it below here. And your home is a vision board. We're definitely gonna have this as well. But they can obviously grab this on Amazon. I mean, I'd go to Amazon for
Yeah.
everything. Or I do Barnes and Noble with it.
Course.
But either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, good bookstores, Amazon, they can have it. And in there, there'll also be a link to the app because you need the app to go through the system, through the book, because, you need that practical tool to have me with you in your journey through Feng Shui.
Everyone needs your home as a vision board, even for gifts. I don't care. Valentine's Day. Heck, there's so much here that will help you in the bedroom. Maybe someone starting 2025, it's still early enough in the year. There's still time to get it right, to get yourself in the right place. So this is amazing. And I'm going to definitely give this as a gift. So thank you so much. One of the questions was, what's your legacy? But you kind of already said it, to impact 500 million plus, people worldwide. And what's next for Marie, if not your legacy?
Oh, what's next? Well, it's very interesting. So last year we did more than 20 million organic followers on Instagram, views on Instagram. And so a lot of people are now asking me to teach about Instagram and TikTok. So that's kind of been and we started creating a course in an agency actually to help people to do that. What I never thought I would do. So I'm quite good in certain aspects of AI. So they ask me now at AI summits and social media summits that I never thought, like using digital feng shui. So really fun. We're also working on our second season for our TV show. We're working on a big documentary. So yeah, it's just and keep working, focusing on getting this information as mainstream as possible. And so I want to thank you, Diana, for the work you do, because I know you always thank your guests, but I also want to thank you for the work you do and the
Well,
impact that you have and the heart you have for your clients, and you can feel it in everything
thank
you're
you.
sharing. And so, and it's because of people like you, we also, I can also leave a legacy through the audio to the videos that are out, and they will be forever out in the internet. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. That's really heartfelt. I know in 2008, when I was a single mom and I, had a abusive marriage with my ex-husband and had the courage to leave, it changed my life. And your work and what you did, and even when I watched The Secret, uh, I'm not going to get emotional. I cry on commercials, Marie. I cry on commercials. Okay. So, but it really did change my life. And I truly believe in everything that you're doing. And I can't wait to share all that we've learned here to the world, to the universe. And your app is going to be amazing to reach millions more people. And so thank you so much for being on this episode with me. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to
Thank
make
you
this
for taking time for this long extended
Yes, we
interview.
can be here for 5 hours, I have a feeling.
I know. Yeah, so I hope to see you one day in LA,
Thank
and
you. Thank you. Yes.
to all of you, all my love.
That is all on today's episode with Marie Diamond. I hope you found this insightful. I know that I did. I have been following Marie Diamond for many years, over a decade, and I learned some amazing little tidbits today on things that I didn't even imagine I was doing wrong. So I encourage you, if you haven't picked up her book, Your Home is Your Vision Board, please do so. It's going to make a profound impact on your life. I promise you that. And if you're just curious and you say, what is this Feng Shui vision board stuff that we talked about today? I encourage you, I challenge you to do it, to try it, and see what happens. It's still the start of 2025. The rest of 2025 depends on it. Make your dreams a reality. Do the thing, take the right action. But don't forget, your home is your vision board. Your office is your vision board. Is it aligned with your goals and aspirations that you're looking to achieve? Very, very important. I hope that you put your comments below. Tell me what you think about today's episode. Maybe what you've learned that you're going to implement right away. Or maybe you've already done this and this just mimics or confirms what you're already doing, and share it with the other people that are tuning into this episode. And remember to subscribe, because you don't want to miss another episode coming your way.